The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and The Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon, folks. It is a gorgeous day out there, and it is, get here to the right one, and it is Thursday, October 4th. Is that right? It's the 4th already? Boy, the days on this October are flying already. It is a gorgeous day at the headquarters of TFNN, the headquarters of Technical Trading and Investing. It is a Cinnamon Roll Day. Thank God it's not Culture Club Day. I'm starting to have some real arguments with the programming staff and the lead-in music that I have to endure. There's so much good music out there. It's just it's like a wonderful Cinnabon next to a McDonald's little muffin. It's just there's so much better out there. Can't we do something? It is Cinnamon Roll Day. The size of a cinnamon roll varies from place to place, but many vendors supply a smaller size, about 2 inches in diameter, and to a larger size, almost 4 inches. The largest variety can be found in Finland. I won't even try to pronounce it. It's sounds like a corpuscle, but that's not it. It can be up to almost pizza size, about 8 inches in diameter, weighing almost a half a pound. My grandmother used to make them, but she called them sticky buns. And oh, were they good. It had lots of kind of a gooey, caramelized, what would you call it? It's sugar and cinnamon and butter. It was just kind of like this goo that you just get off the bottom of the pan. Oh, nothing smells like that. Even in an airport, the one bright thing that you can smell over the people and their cigarette smoke reeking off of them as they desperately jones for a cigarette as they walk down the aisles of the terminal. One thing you can smell over all that smell and the smell of humanity is that nice little Cinnabon store. I always just have to get one. And most of those Cinnabon stores, they don't play any horrible Culture Club music. So we'll have to figure out why they're better at that. So anyway, the things I have to endure here, the crosses I bear to bring you this, those guys aren't bad. They just have a limited repertoire for music. We're going to have to give them a musical re-education camp, just like they did in Russia. Let them know what good music actually is. Anyway, beautiful day out here. Right now we'll get into some news. Probably the biggest thing, Apple was lower. Let me get a good check of them right now. They're off about $5. We had a little report yesterday that they were having a hard time getting Apple their new mini iPads out for this fall. And we've already gone to see that it is more than one report now, and I suspect that is why Apple is off. Right now, they are off 4 to 6 weeks by Topeka Capital analyst Brian White, no relation. But apparently they're having a lot of problems, just like they had building the iPhone with the display. Apparently there's several problems with this display. It's a 7.9-inch display, so almost an 8-inch display. For the new mini iPad. Supposed to sell around, rumors are around $300. So look at it going out for about $100 more than the Google Nexus, Nexus 7? I think it's Nexus 7 pad. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do if they can command $100 more. The problem is twofold. One, they're late on it. Secondarily, it's probably going to bring in much narrower margins. They make 2/3 of their money on iPhones, where they make just an awful lot of in fact, they have to sell 2 iPads now to make up for every one phone sale that they don't make. This thing may need 3 or 4 cells to actually make up for every one iPhone they make. So why these things are going to come out, they're going to be less effective in the bottom line and more effective in bringing down the margins. And any company that makes super high margins, like Apple, especially on hardware, or let's say Intel, any little tick down normally gets the investors scrambling in a real hurry, and that's probably why we're seeing a little bit more weakness. Apple really looks like it wants to trade down into the 645 range. 674 was kind of the bottom support. Now that we're below there, I suspect it meanders down. It is 20% of the NASDAQ 100. It is 10% of the S&P. It correlates much higher than that just because when it moves, it is the 100-pound or the 800-pound gorilla jumping in the pond. It will leave some ripples and just some things to talk about, but not executing extremely well. But if you've listened to me very long, you know how much I dislike former CFOs becoming the CEO of the company. They always tend to have the same characteristics, which are it's kind of like putting two really good artists together, musical artists, and they make great music, and then they have to break up because each one thinks that they're better than each other. It's rare that you get a Simon and Garfunkel where you get a lot of great Simon songs later. Normally you never hear about them again. They're not just that good. So just take it for what it's worth. But if you ask me, the reason this thing is weak is that they continue to have production problems. In the debates last night, if you could call them that, probably there were two things that I wanted to bring up that are political in nature. One is Romney was slamming Tesla last night, and you could go and look for the actual quotes in it. But basically he's going after a handful of companies, most of which are already bankrupt. And they kind of included Tesla in that. Tesla was down. Let me check it here real quick. And I was looking at it a little bit. It was down as much as 60 cents. Let's see if it's doing anything now. It's off 19 cents. Along with the S&P, yeah, pretty much stuck at 1460 right now. You know, he's got a lot of hedge fund buddies, and my guess is he wouldn't have said that if he knew that Tesla was actually going to be able to get back in to compliance on some of their loans. So I would say that normally politicians don't just shoot off the mouth, especially someone in the hedge fund business like Romney. Probably a lot of people told him that they are going to continue to have problems. And, of course, even the CEO himself, Elon Musk, said not even 4 weeks ago that the company is either going to be tremendous success in the next 6 months or be roadkill on yet another 100 years or 110 years of electric cars that have eventually failed. What else? Some of the discussions is what would happen. In fact, someone sent me an email. What would happen if Romney did win the presidency? And we can probably try to keep this non-dramatic. I know everybody's probably going to get up in my grill. I'm being in the hood, in my grill. Anyway, I'm down with it. I'm in the hood. Anyway, the cost per megawatt for different kinds of electric. One of the things that there's some discussion of what it would change in the healthcare sector. I think that's very muddy. There's probably only one thing that's clear that would change, I think, with a Romney election. There may be a great market change or direction, but in the individual sectors, which ones would do better and which one would do worse, I am actually probably picking coal. And that's probably because it's the one sector that hasn't been affected as far as the current president wants to go. He basically said that he would bankrupt coal miners, and he's well on his way to doing that. So you can take him at his word that he plans to do that. We had about 500 fired coal plants, of which about 200 of them he's already been able to close with EPA standards. There are another 200 that he's going to potentially close with his new standards before 2014. The one thing that's probably severely going to change is the cost of electricity if that does happen. If it doesn't happen, look for the coal miners to come back. I think that would probably be the biggest sector that would change if we have a change in presidency. Right now, the cost per megawatt in a brand new facility that opens in 2017, this is from a government report, would be $116.30 per megawatt for coal. For natural gas, $88.10. That's based on current prices for natural gas. That could fluctuate greatly. The price of coal is not. Nuclear, just slightly more than currently at coal, $120. Wind would be about $114, which is great, except, of course, it doesn't blow all the time. Offshore wind, and this is where I know there's a lot of who shot John over these ones going off of Martha's Vineyard. But apparently those as a scale would be $350 per megawatt. So horribly expensive. Solar thermal, these are the ones where they put a giant tower in the center of a bunch of mirrors and boil liquid sodium and actually make it. Those probably the most expensive energy right now for electricity. They're coming in at about $400 per megawatt. Solar voltaic, which is solar cells, the ones that you just put out on top of your roof. Those come in at $245 per megawatt right now. And hydro, if they wanted to build a new dam, the average price for electricity from a new dam is $150 dollars per megawatt. So you can see that coal would still be far and away less expensive, and especially if we're talking about the fall off from the eventually closing, well, I guess when he came to office, there were a little over 500 plants. If you take him at his word that he'll bring it down to about 100 coal-fired plants by 2014, that means that you would probably see any kind of steel production in the United States and aluminum production, both that are huge users of electric, would not be able to compete. I would suspect that we would not have one steel manufacturer left in the United States. So I would probably think that we could also look at something like the steel producers to go short if Obama continues to win. Now, hopefully these are unpolitical enough for you guys to come through. You can always call me and maybe come up with some of your scenarios, but you know, we're not that far away. We can start trying to make a little money off this, even if our candidate doesn't win. We'll continue after the break here, but starting to have a pretty good day here. We'll be back in a minute.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
80% of traders fail because they don't know when to get in or out of a market, and all because no one taught them how to read the signs. You see, the stock market has a universal language called Japanese candlesticks, and each day, the buyers and sellers, the bulls and bears, go to work and build signs. This language has been around for thousands of years, and it's easy to learn. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Masters Show, and I'm a master sign builder. Download my free report, Candlesticks, The Speed of Trust, on the homepage of TFNN.com for one of the best-kept candlestick secrets. I'll also be conducting an online course Friday, October 19th, to teach you the language of the market's sign builders. You'll learn the best entry and exit techniques and strategies that will create extraordinary rewards. The course will be archived so you can review it as many times as you like, because trading or investing without learning this language is like running a red light. It's an accident waiting to happen, and there's no airbags or seatbelts. All the details are on the homepage of TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, get to a little bit more news here, and it will be interesting. But we've got Redbox coming out with a little news. I saw that they were up a little bit earlier, so let's go ahead and take a look at them. That's Coinstar, isn't it? CSTR. See how they're doing today. Yeah, up a buck or so. So not doing too bad. CSTR, of course, been hammered fairly hard, but they're going to extend their market into having both. I think it's I forgot to put it in there. Movie tickets and concert tickets. And just so happens that Steve Rhodes and I are going out to see Joe Cocker tonight. So we're going to have a nice little concert out there and wash that Culture Club ooze off of me from earlier. That song's still going to haunt me for a while. But kind of doing interesting. Anyway, huge short positions on it. In fact, some very big axes are short Coinstar. So don't be surprised if you see a little action. But at least they're trying to do something to stop the spiral down. Unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to have a lot of good news, mostly because the summer movies have been so horrible. And also, I think the overall take for the summer movies was the lowest in 10 years. So when you transfer that people wouldn't go see the movies in the theaters. They may rent them, but probably even to a lesser extent rent some of those movies. I've tried to, I kind of go by the one that's in my grocery store, and it's been like about 4 weeks since I found anything that I even thought about renting, and probably 8 weeks since I've rented anything from them. There's not a lot actually there worth seeing. Today at the Bell, we're going to have the guy that's been on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange the longest. He's been there for 60 years, if you can believe that. He did leave for a year. He got called up in the draft to go to Korea and be a tank gunner. But it was interesting. Anyway, Jimmy McGuire Sr. Is 81, and this will be his last day on the big board on the New York Stock Exchange. He's rather famous for being the market maker for Berkshire Hathaway. I don't suspect it's going to make a big change. I'm sure they've had someone else. But if you wanted to ever buy a Berkshire Hathaway share, his little nits were probably on that since its inception. He has been their market maker. So you might catch him at the end of the day. But I bet he's got a lot of good stories of 60 years being on Wall Street and actually being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Kind of strange, we've got hedge funds out there going after countries, and it's rare that you ever get any money back when you get stiffed, and Argentina stiffed a ton of people. But one of the companies that actually got stiffed, Elliott Management, which is a big hedge fund, I'm almost betting there was a little money that came by. But to stick it back to Argentina, they basically foreclosed on their naval training ship, which is a three-masted ship that's, 300-400 feet long, can have a crew of 300. But they train their sailors on it. The only ship that they've had, it set sail in 1950. It docked in Ghana, and they basically slapped the cuffs on the ship and told the sailors to get off, and are taking it. So occasionally, of course, Argentina, a big socialist, almost communist state, you always wonder why the Nazis decided to go there right after the war, so it maybe tells you a little bit. I've met some Argentinians. They seem to be fine folks. The government seem to be horrible. Unfortunately, a lot of people have grown up and spent their lives under the tyranny of socialism and communism. But I think that government's probably on the way out the door. But kind of interesting to see that happen. Normally, if you're afraid of a country or a regime in a country, you wouldn't do that. That Guyana did this makes me think that they think that the current administration for Argentina is out the door. Microsoft and Barnes & Noble's completed a Nook deal today. It will basically mean that the Nooks are going to end up being Windows 8 tablets fairly soon. Basically, for their part, Microsoft put in a $300 million investment and plans Windows 8 reading apps right off the door. But I think this is the end of Nook. Microsoft is getting rid of one of its competitors and probably going to be moving all those Nook people to their platform soon enough. We'll be back in just a minute.
You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've seen him on Tiger TV, as well as being featured as a regular CNBC guest and contributor, and now you can have access to his expert trading advice each morning through his daily trading newsletter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives traders, investors, and money managers a thorough strategy for trading stocks, options, and indices every market day. Market Insights comes out each market day before 9:30 a.m. and provides provides traders with Tom's daily commentary, opinion, and specific trade recommendations on the markets. Using advanced Fibonacci methods, volume indicators, Gartley patterns, candlestick charting, gaps, and market timing, Market Insights will give you specific trade recommendations including entry, stop, and exit prices. The summer is over and traders are back. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now. TFNN and Great Panther Silver have teamed up for another exciting silver giveaway. The Great Panther Silver Halloween giveaway will be taking place at the end of October, and for 3 full days, we'll be giving away silver coins and bars every hour from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. to one lucky winner randomly chosen. There's no purchase necessary. For more information and to fill out your registration form today, simply visit the front page of TFNN.com where you'll find all the details. October 29th, 30th, and 31st, we'll choose one lucky winner that will receive a silver coin or bar courtesy of Great Panther Silver. Winners will be announced live on the air each hour for 3 full days. Don't miss out on this great opportunity to win free silver from TFNN and Great Panther Silver. Register today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com, and for more information on Great Panther Silver, you can click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex, symbol GPL, or on the Toronto Stock Exchange, symbol GPR. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we come back from break. The FOMC meetings just came out. Not a lot of reaction in the marketplace so far. In fact, the S&Ps look like they're stuck. I always think that maybe there's something going on when the market is this flat, but stuck right at 1460, and it's stuck at 1460 again. I mean, we almost look at that. We got about 26 minutes to go in the hour, but flat as a pancake anyway. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this, but not a lot of volume so far. Looked like yesterday we were going to have an extremely light volume day. It all came in at the end. And that's it. The only thing in the FOMC meetings that I was able to look through during the break was, in the near term, the drought in the Midwest is expected to weigh on economic growth. But other than that, they didn't have a lot that I found in that. And again, we've got jobs numbers in the morning, expected to come in pretty much in line what everybody thinks. Maybe we get a surprise, but it'll be kind of interesting. Facebook has 1 billion friends, and I think this is actually the second time that they've had 1 billion friends. At one time, they had like 80% of the entire population of Great Britain and England and everything that you call England over there, all the other islands, and it was just a huge thing. That was like a year and a half ago. Within a few months, most of the people came back to kind of a normal 30% of the population being on it. But I thought that they had 1 billion friends back then because of just a huge pop. In most of Europe, everybody got on board. It became a huge fad for a few months. I think this is the second time they have 1 billion. But this is probably a little bit more organic. It wasn't a big fad. More than 1 billion people using Facebook actively each month. That means 1 in 7 people across the entire planet log on to the social network every month. If they can ever find a way to actually make big money on that, it will be good. Foreclosures, one of the most interesting things I found is that New Jersey had a jump in foreclosures, 6%. But amazingly enough, Florida comes in with a almost 11.5% jump from the month before on foreclosures. I had actually been talking to Tom and been telling him that I ride my bike around a great deal, take the dog, and especially in the morning go for runs. And of course the dog's so fast. He may be a little dog, but he's got a lot of energy. So I've got to go out and run him down the block. He can go a good mile and a half. I go through several neighborhoods, and I'd noticed over the last month a lot of these blue flyers in the windows of the houses or on the houses themselves. And people would take them off the next day or the same day. They'd be back on again, and basically these were foreclosure notices. So I knew something was coming up in late August and 1st of September. Started seeing a bunch of white papers after the blue papers. But a huge pop, 11% here in Florida. And if you're watching on Tiger TV, they show the difference between judicial and non-judicial foreclosures. We are in a judicial, I can't even say it, judicial state. And that means that it has to go through the normal courts. They've been backed up. We've got a couple of those lawyer firms that specialize this, even on in this building that we're out of. But they have basically gotten through a lot of those cases that were deemed robo-signed, and now the court system's actually a little streamlined. These things are actually starting to sail through. And of course, Tom has this little thing where he's going to be buying a lot of these with his little hedge fund thing. And I think he's actually doing something tonight. But it is kind of interesting. This is hitting about the sweet spot. I suspect that we're probably going to see this continue on for several months in Florida as a lot of this backlog gets through. I did talk to a couple of people. One guy was so gummed up down here that I talked to, lives way down the street, my friend of a friend. But come to find out that he'd been living in his father's house, who died, and because of everything being gooed up, he'd lived in that house for almost 4.5 years. In fact, he just left a few weeks ago because it was stuck in probate, and all the rest of this stuff had gummed up the works so badly. But it looks like it's finally become ungummed, and a huge spike when most of the country is going down. Florida has had this rather giant spike in foreclosures. And that's pretty much it for the news. I wanted to try to get through a lot of that today. And we'll get on to some charts here. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648, 877-927-6648, and we'll discuss what's going on. Pretty quiet so far out here. Not a lot of movement for the index being up 10 points on the S&P. I think it's about 10 points, isn't it? $9.20 on the S&P, so pretty close. It's been at this 1416 level for at least a couple hours, and 2.3 billion shares pretty much tracks right into what we were doing yesterday, but we ended up with I think about 3.7 billion shares. So there was a whole bunch of activity by the end of the day, even though the market didn't seem to move that much. Some people are calling this a Romney rally. There's no way to tell whether or not. Of course, cause is not causality. The only way we would know is if there were two distinct histories, one where Romney didn't do well last night, one that he did. So I'm just going to chalk this up to regular market action, since we can't really know whether or not this has any bearing on the political field whatsoever. I wanted to get into some charts here so real quick. And one of them was MasterCard, MA. And see how it's doing. This is one that's kind of broken out of the previous highs, and as far as I can tell, with lighter volume. I've been watching this. I was going to try to get some puts on it in the newsletter. Just too thinly traded for puts for me, so I'm going to have to look somewhere else. But kind of an interesting chart. The last major high out here was at $466.98 on May 1st, 1.7 million shares. We had a big move yesterday, but it was short by about 500,000 shares, or a third. Good 30-40% of the volume. Now we're getting a little shooting star out here today. I don't know if it's high enough to be considered a shooting star. Certainly a doji. Up here, and again, very, very light volume. This is much like the rest of the marketplace out here. You get a lot of volume in these stocks as they approach the highs. They get no volume, they pull back into the trading range, and we've had a lot of this over the last few days. There's some other ones I wanted to look at and see how they did. Let's look at Coinstar, since we brought that up a little bit, as STR, see if we can get a read on that. They're back in below the trading range. They never got the kind of volume you would like to see, breaking out that $46.45 level. That it's come back into the trading range. Probably not a big surprise. Looks like it's going to consolidate between here and $55 again, where it's been finding resistance for a while. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Tesla, TSLA. We'll look at that one also. Looks like it's got one more chance to get back down to this low of $25.52 on August 2nd. TSLA is the symbol on it. But they've had production problems. They certainly have problems with just trying to sell an $80,000 all-electric car. In this market, we've seen the other cars, Toyota give up its all-electric car, and some of the others, like the Volt, having problems being sold. And maybe this is just not the business to be in at the moment. I think maybe a big blow-up in the Mid-East could happen, and you might want to look at Tesla Motors on something like that. But I don't see a lot of other issues going out there. Wanted to check also on Google. It's up here once again, challenging the long-term highs. Let's see if we can get a chart on that even longer, huh? Okay. 8.2 million shares, and that was at November 7th at 2007, $747. 8.2 million shares. The question is, have we gotten anywhere close to those 8 million shares over the last, as it went through that 740 level? And the answer is, I think, a fairly definitive no. 3.5 million shares on the 24th. We've got 6 million shares on the 25th. We've been kind of going sideways. Sometimes you can eat through these highs on volume, but yesterday, 2.2 million shares doesn't do a lot for me, and probably coming in at the same level today as we get back up yet to a higher high in the marketplace. I would say discretion is a better part of valor on some of these up here at the highs. What else do we have? IBM still hanging out at these highs also. These are probably the stocks that I'm going to be watching at the close to see how they do. Again, some of these, in fact, you had the kind of volume that you wanted up here for the previous high on IBM, but it pulled right back into the trading range. It's going against its April 3rd high with $210.69 of 4 million shares. as you've gotten through that last couple of days, you had that 5.5 million shares on the first, but since then, just going kind of sideways with 3 million shares, and is that right today? So you're getting about 2.5 million shares today, and a nice little doji. So we are making some nice candlestick symbols out here. Whether or not or how we do at the end is probably going to be more important as far as the close of the day out here. We continue seeing some other stocks I wanted to check out. Facebook. Let's take a look at Apple, AAPL, and see if we got any volume in it as it's coming down. Kind of interesting that we've had the market move up a little bit as Apple has pulled back off these highs. Not a whole lot into Apple today. Again, another very light volume day. I would suspect that you'd want it to probably come back and change the 650 low from 2 days ago with 22 million shares. It had a similar low at 656 on September 12th. It had 25 million shares. But 3 million shares is not enough for me to risk any money out here. If this would come back again and have like 10 million shares, I think you would have to probably look at it for a retest of the 705 high again. But right now, I'd like to see it back in that 656 level with a whole lot, maybe 12 million shares, something like that, to get a good indication that the thing had actually flattened out and was over. What else we wanted to look at today? UNG's had a nice little pullback over the last day or so. It got up and had tested its previous high with a higher volume from the 2242 high of July 31st, but has pulled back. And that's what's so kind of annoying about a lot of these moves out here is you are getting higher highs, which means you're probably going to test the high one more time. You're getting them as it breaks out, but you instantly close back in. This I like to call this turtling or prairie dogging. They just kind of stick their head out for a second and then pull right back in. We're seeing a great deal of this. The question is, what kind of news are we going to see that would make these stocks actually break out? And why do they get their high and eventually, or generally, within a day or two, right back into the trading range? So you're probably looking for one more test of 2276 to see whether this thing, again, continues to move up on higher volume. You've had kind of two dojis here in a row. I would love for this thing to come back to about $20.50 and on lighter volume to set maybe an ABC up that would break out that mid-$22 range on UNG and natural gas. But there's nothing wrong with the energy that it had on the way up. In fact, I'm going to make my little chart here just a little bit better. It was actually about 10% stronger than the move back down to the August 28th low in natural gas and UNG. But you have a high volume low there. It almost got retested on lighter volume on the 7th, but been continuing moving up since those late dates of August. It is seasonally strong and will be through the end of October. Normally there's a little pullback, and when you start seeing the heavy part of the winter and a lot of gas brought on for heating and electric heating also for power generation, you see that strength carry on through March. So probably not a stock I would, or a sector I would be shorting anytime soon, but maybe on the pullbacks. But I'd certainly like to see $20.50 before risking any more money in UNG. But it'd be nice. Let's see what else we have. We've been looking at oil. Oh, going to go to the break here. You can give me a call. We've got plenty of time. Call here during the break, 877-927-6648. We're going to look at energy a little bit. We were talking about this being pretty much the area of support yesterday, and we did get a nice little bounce, but not the volume we were looking for just yet. Be back in a minute.
Are
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to tfnn.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to tfnn.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Managing your money is a business, and I want you to succeed in any economic environment. The markets are changing fast, and if you do the right thing at the wrong time, you'll have your head handed to you. But if you do the right thing at the right time, the rewards are extraordinary. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, and I have a roadmap that'll guide you and give you the flexibility of change. To succeed in these markets, you need a competitive advantage. And for one solid day, I'll teach you the language called Japanese candlestick charting. Without it, you're dead meat. With it, you have an unfair advantage. Learn the techniques that provide you the strategy for entering and exiting a trade, plus learn the best trading patterns in the business. It's not enough to do the right thing. You've got to do it at the right time. Join me October 19th for our one-day online course, Candlesticks, Silent Signals, and the Speed of Trust. Go to the homepage of tfnn.com and sign up today, because an unfair advantage is a great thing to have.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at tfnn.com.
As we come back, we're going to look at a few stocks. Probably the strongest one out here today, and even with a little volume, but not enough in my book, is Netflix. Netflix is up $4 or so, up 6.5%. Coming up against previous, the gap down. Volume's at least a little better than the last time it got up here, which was August 21st at $66.65 with 3.3 million shares. It's coming back into the same gap, though, that had almost 25 million shares down. That was the whomping it got on, June 25th. Just a huge, massive beating that day, just a take their heads off kind of day. That first bounce, you did have what I dislike in this is the higher volume low that happened around, what is that? Yeah, it's on the 4th of August. And you came in there still with 9 million shares. You can say that we actually went below that, but with 12 million shares, well, not even that, 5, 6, 7 million. So you can almost say that we got a bottom in that. I dislike that you had the higher volume low there that really didn't pierce that $52.81 level. But you're going to be in severe resistance levels now above this $66, $67 level. I suspect that if it gets a pop, it's going to go, there's one gap that's still open from about 73 to 75 bucks. And there, if you saw very light volume, you might be looking at it. This, I don't know if you can even get shares on this. It is one of the most heavily shorted stocks, so it may even come back and finish filling all this gap. We're going to have to see what the news is on this and how it did. One of the other ones moving was NVIDIA. It's up about 4.75%. Apollo, perennial stock of the living dead. In fact, I'm going to have to do a living dead episode. I'll probably do that for Halloween Day. What's Halloween Day on? Let's check that out real quick. If it's the 31st, it's a Wednesday. We can do it. I'm going to do a day, the stocks that are the undead. They're dead, they just don't know it. One of the other ones that is up here again today, and of course these stocks are very highly short, so they pop even on bad days, is Fossil. I've been waiting for this thing to one more time get back up into about the mid-95s to think that this thing is going to go back and fill the gap below, even though it popped back up here. It's kind of like the Netflix in that it got blown apart. This was a day later on the actually a month earlier, on May 8th, where it came down on almost 21 million shares. Been hammering back up in these levels that are going to be long time resistance levels. If anything happened on these and the market decidedly turned, I suspect we'd see $62.77 in a heartbeat in some of these. SanDisk up about 3%. I don't think that SNDK, we're going to see a lot of difference in that. But again, one of these that came off with huge volume, and we're getting back up there, and I think we're probably going to be testing that in the next day or so. Also, SNDK off hugely on April 4th, came down with 27.5 million shares, tried to get back up again in September 19th. So at $46.99, but 5.3 million shares, of course, didn't go higher than that, did pull back. You've got some levels where these things are kind of ratcheted up, but this looks like support would be in a larger trading range. If you can't get some juice in this thing, back to about 38 bucks, where the last big jump up in it was. You all have a great and safe and wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow.